When we realize that the past is what created the present, then that highlights that the present is where we start to create something different. Now, I want to just put an exclamation point on this. Do not waste your present trying to fix your past. You feel me on that? Do not waste your present trying to fix your past. I know it's easier said than done. Truly I do. And how much time I have spent looking at the past. But we have to get cognizant of it. We've got to be in containers like this. We've got to be listening to the higher way. We've got to be listening to the spiritual development, the personal growth, because the only way that we're going to create a shift in our future consciousness and our future manifested reality is if we start getting really cognitively aware that the present moment is where we create change. We don't fix what has been. That is a waste of time. If you look back and you try to fix what has been, what you're doing is giving energy to something you don't even want. And that's what creates that looping experience. When you look back, you're putting all of your focus on what happened. What happened? Not what's happening, not what's going to happen. You're putting all of your energy back. And so when you do that, so do we want a looping experience? I don't think so. I don't want a looping experience. I've lived that. No, thank you. It is the worst. So there's a discipline that happens here though, isn't there? Because it's pretty natural, especially when the ego mind is strong. It's pretty natural to want to look back and see what went wrong and try to fix it. It's pretty natural. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. How many times I've like, oh, if I would have just done that and that, then it would be so different now. You know what I mean? But the thing that you have to realize, and this is a tough one, but you gotta just know it. First and foremost, you always look back on the past with the mind you have now. Meaning you don't have access to who you were or what you were thinking then. You think you do, but you don't. You can only access the mind you have now when you look back on the past. So your memories are distorted. What you think you thought is completely incorrect. You can only look back on the past with the mind you have now. So what that means is that at that time, you did your best. I know. Like we're hard on ourselves, right? But you did your best. You were doing what you thought was the best thing to do at the time. And it created a circumstance, a situation that maybe you're not appreciating very much right now. You feel me on this? And that's okay. Now, what we've got to say though is like, okay, I did my best. And do you feel the shift in that? Because the alternative is I did something wrong. I messed up and I've got to fix it. And again, it's just going to loop you. You've got to know that you don't have access to who you were. You don't have access to who you were. You don't have access to what you were thinking. You were doing your best. You were doing what you thought was the right thing to do at the time that you did it. And you got to leave it at that. Then you got to look at what's happening right here, right now. You got to be like, okay, this is the manifested reality. Here's what's good. Here's what needs to change. Simplify it. Here's what's good. Here's what needs to change. And then you allow the data of what's happening right now to show you where you want to make those shifts. And you make the shifts here now. You don't look back. You make them here and now. You say, okay, what would I prefer? All of my Abraham Hicks people, everyone here, you watch Abraham Hicks. What's like the main message that she says? Contrast helps you get clearer about what you want. So when you look at your current state of reality, and if it doesn't feel good, look good, sets you up for the direction that you want to be going, you use that to get clear on what you do want. And once you get clear on what you do want, now is when you start that stop looking with your physical eyes only, and start feeling your way to what it is that you want. What that means is that everything has a vibrational signature. Everything has a vibrational signature. Vibrational signature essentially means it feels a certain way. It feels a certain way. Like, we got to take all these esoteric spiritual terms and bring it down to earth. When you think about what you want, doesn't that feel a certain way? Now, there's a clarification here, because there's a difference between a joyful desire of what you want and then a wounded want of what you want. We don't have time to go into it today. Again, that is in the Spiritual Coach Training Program as well. But essentially, Cliff's Notes version, joyful desire opens your heart. Wounded want makes you feel inadequate until you have it. And, like, spoiler, you never get it, because it's a wound, not a desire. So when you're feeling into the joyful desire of what you would actually really love, like, it's such a different feeling, isn't it? It has a certain vibration. Now, everything that leads to that joyful desire is going to feel like that. It's not going to be always the most logical move. It's going to have a feeling. So when you feel into this beautiful vision of the shift that you want your life to take, you can feel it. Every action that leads towards that is going to feel like that same vibration. This is why we can't shame ourselves into happiness. We can't hustle ourselves into the ground of unworthiness and then end up feeling happy and worthy. The math doesn't math. It doesn't make sense. We do it all day long, but it doesn't make sense. Does this click? So we have to start feeling our way. You got to start getting in tune with that feminine energy, that intuition. Now, the way you start getting in tune with the feminine energy, the intuition, you got to heal the stuff that's in the way. We've got to take off the armor. We've got to stop hustling for our worth. We've got to stop letting our circumstance dictate who we are. All of these things, this is the journey. But as you start feeling into it and you start moving towards it in that energy, you start to build that trust muscle. And as you build that trust muscle, this is where your true unwavering confidence comes from.